Hello boys and girls, today we are looking at dividing decimals, and our learning target today says I can divide decimals. Here we have the steps to follow when we are dividing decimals, and specifically when we have a decimal divided by a whole number. Step 1 says place a decimal point directly above the decimal under the division bracket. And step 2 says divide to find the quotient. So we're going to do a couple examples here to see what that means. So we draw our division bracket. We have 94 hundredths, and we are dividing it by 3. So we are seeing how many times does 3 fit into 94 hundredths. Okay? And our first number is the number that goes inside of the bracket. All right? Now, step 1 says to place a decimal point directly above, so we just carry this decimal up and put it in right away. Now we divide to find the quotient. That word quotient means the answer to our division problem. 3 fits into 0 0 times. Now we do multiplication. 0 times 3 is 0. Subtraction. Okay. Then we bring down our next digit. How many times does 3 fit into 9? Fits in there 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Then we do our subtraction. 9 minus 9 is 0. Bring down our next digit. How many times does 3 fit into 4? Well, it fits in 1 time. 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract 4 minus 3 is 1. We have 1 left. We can't stop there, so we have to add a 0 to drop down. Okay, so now we ask ourselves, how many times does 3 fit into 10? Well, it fits in there 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. Again, we have 1 left over, so we can't stop there. We drop down another 0. 3 fits into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. And if you notice, we have a pattern that's just going to continue. So that 3 is going to continue on forever. So how we can write this is with something called bar notation. Okay, and all that means is we take our answer, and where the number starts repeating, we put a bar above it. So that 3 that repeats on and on, we put a bar above it, so that tells us that it is repeating. Okay, so there's our answer for that one. Our next problem is 94 and 21 hundredths divided by 6. Again, our first number goes inside the bracket. We're seeing how many times does 6 fit in there. We bring our decimal point up above. 6 fits into 9 1 time. 1 times 6 is 6. Subtract 9 minus 6 is 3. Drop down our 4. 6 fits into 34 5 times. 5 times 6 is 30. Subtraction. Bring down our next digit. Again, it is always very important to keep your numbers all lined up so that we keep them all in order. So if you need to, you can even draw lines to help keep you organized. 6 fits into 42 7 times. 7 times 6 is 42. Do our subtraction 0. Now, we got 0, but that does not mean we are done because we still have to drop down our 1. 6 fits into 1 0 times. 0 times 6 is 0. Subtraction. We have 1 left over, so we have to drop down another 0. 6 fits into 10 1 time. 1 times 6 is 6. Subtraction. Bring down another 0. How many times does 6 fit into 40? Fits in there 7 times. It fits in there 6 times. Okay. 6 times 6 is 36. Again, Add another 0 to drop down. 6 fits into 40 6 times. And if you notice, we are back to repeating. So again, we can write this with bar notation. So we have 15 and, let's see, 6 is where it starts repeating, so that's where we write our line. So we have 15 and 7,016 ten thousandths. Okay, so with that bar notation. Now another thing is with rounding, since it's, if we were rounding, depending on what place we would round to, this could also round up if we were rounding to the 10,000ths place to a 7. Okay, but just pay attention to how it's asked. Bar notation is always a good way to go. Now we have when we are taking a decimal dividing by a decimal. Step 1 says move both decimal points to the right the same number of places to make the outside number whole. Step 2, place the decimal directly above the decimal in the box. And step 3, divide to find the quotient. Again, quotient means answer to our division problem. So again, draw our division bracket. First number goes inside the bracket. Okay. Now, what we do here, step 1 says to move the decimal to the right the same number of places to make the outside number whole. So with this outside number, we move the decimal point 1 to the right. So on the inside bracket, we move the decimal 1 to the right. That, and then place the decimal directly above it. And now we divide like normal. 3 can't fit into 1, so 3 fits into 12 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. Do our subtraction. Drop down our 6. 3 fits into 6 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. 0, and we are done. So our final answer here is 42. All right. Next one here. I'm just going to zoom in on it here. Step 1, we move the decimal place to the right. 1, 2 spots on the outside number, so we have to move it that many spots on the inside number. Bring that decimal point directly above to outside the bracket. And now divide like normal. So now we have 236, and 236 cannot fit into 2. It cannot fit into 26, so we move it to our 264. It fits into there 1 time. 1 times 236. Do our subtraction here. Okay. Drop down our next number here. How many times does 236 fit into 283? Well, it fits in 1 time. 1 times 236. Again, do our subtraction. 13 minus 6, 7 minus 3. All right. Now, drop down our last digit here, our 2. Okay, so, oops. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many times exactly 236 will fit into 472, but I know that 36 plus 36 is 72, and 2 plus 2 is 4, so let's try that. 236 plus 236. Okay, so it does work. So 236 fits into 472 2 times. 2 times 236 is 472. Do our subtraction, and we get 0. So we have a final answer here of 11 and 2 tenths. All right, one more example to go through here. If you think you've got it, try it on your own and then come back and check your answer. Otherwise, we'll go through it here together. All right, step 1, move the decimal over to the right on this first number as far as it needs to go, and move it that same amount on our number inside the bracket. Carry your decimal point up, straight up above the bracket, and now divide like normal. So we have to figure out how many times does 15 fit into 83. I don't know exactly, so I am going to do some trial and error here. 15 times 4 is 60. Let's see if it can fit in one more time. 75, and if we were to add another 15, it would be too many. So it fits in there 5 times. 5 times 15 we just found is 75. Do our subtraction. 13 minus 5 is 7. Sorry, 13 minus 5 is 8. There we go. Drop down our second number. 15 fits into 82. Well, we just found it's 5 times. 5 times 15, again, is 75. Do our subtraction. 12 minus 5 is 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. Drop down our next number. 15 fits into 75 5 times. 5 times 15 is 75. Do our subtraction. We get 0, so we stop. So we have an answer of 55 and 5/10. Okay, so that is all for us. I'll zoom out here so we can see them all. Again, if you have any questions, you can always go back and re-watch any part of the video. Make sure to bring your notes with you to class tomorrow. And go ahead and go take the Dividing Decimals NICU quiz.